There we go. All right, so you guys are looking at the fuel. This is really pretty poor quality fuel. You can tell the color difference between the two of these. And we're doing a makeup lab right here today, but I wanted to kind of do this so in the future, if you guys miss this lab, you can see the color difference between the two fuels. I know the one is kind of in an opaque kind of color versus a clear, but you can definitely see this one is much darker and kind of nastier. And the smell is really distinct. So if you smell this, it almost smells like turpentine, kind of nasty, stinky, versus normal gasoline smell. And we could do another additional test, which is to, and I usually do this as a tech, I'll put a little sample on the floor and I'll light it. Either one of you guys have a lighter?
No.
Okay, no big deal. In the future, I'll make sure I do that for you guys in classes to kind of just put a little sample down and burn it so you guys can see it. But today we're going to do, and I'm going to stop this video in a second, we'll do a water test to test for alcohol content. This one here, I'm not going to bother. If you look and smell it, it's bad. Yeah. I would pull that out of the tank and replace it. And that came out of a car that had bad fuel in it. So in our gas caddy, which I'll just spin that around so you guys can see the gas caddy in the background, that thing, it has bad fuel in it. So don't ever pull gas out of that and put it in a car. We've had students in the past do that. That's bad fuel usually. That should go up in a tank upstairs. Okay? All right, perfect. Okay, this is our student Chris and Dan.
No, he's over there.
They're going to be famous for the rest of the time I use this video. All right, so what we did is we took a bottle, and this has divisions on it. It's 0 at the very bottom, 10 are marked here, and then up to 100. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a percentage here. We're going to put a fuel sample in and put a water sample in. We're going to shake this, and then it's going to absorb into the alcohol. The alcohol is going to fall out, so you're going to get a division line. So we've got some fuel here. We've got some water here, and we're going to add. So we're going to try and do this carefully. Usually if you use like a turkey baster or an eyedropper, it makes it really easy because I can add it drop, 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 drop at a time. This makes it a little tougher. So I'm going to try and put this up to 90 milliliters. Okay? And obviously once you're done with this, you probably don't want to pour it into your car. You do have some water content. And once I get it close, I'm actually going to set this down so I don't shake. And we're going to do our best to get it right up there to 90. So we can watch it. About there. Okay, that should be pretty darn close. So we got 90 milliliters of fuel, and we're going to do 10 milliliters of water. Hopefully I have enough water here. And we'll see how steady my hand is. Not very steady. The older I get, the more I shake. Thank you, Chris. Okay, that should be pretty close. All right, so again, what we're doing here is we're trying to check the alcohol content in our fuel. Conditions that you would have is oxygenated fuel. If you have too much alcohol in it, it's going to tend to make the O2 sensor think the car is running lean, which is going to inject more fuel, which is actually going to make it run rich. So if it's not intended to have E85 in it, we shouldn't put E85 in it. If it's not intended to have over 10% alcohol from the manufacturer, then we don't want to add like 15 cans of dry gas, which is, again, an ethanol or methanol mixture. It's designed to absorb water. So what we're going to do is put this cap on and see if I can sling this all over the place. Probably will. Normally I like to use a little glass beaker. And what you're going to do is you're going to spill this all over the place. So I might have to kind of stir it more than shake it. I've just run my marker all off of there. Okay, so kind of shake that up. Normally I like to shake that a little bit more. It's not too bad. I could also stir this too. But what we're going to be looking at is our division line and how much it grows, because we had 10 milliliters of water in there. So now we should see, as it settles out, we should see that division line of the fuel floating on top of the water. It should actually raise up a little bit, and the water content will be a little bit thicker than what it was. Because again, we started with 10, we see what it gets. I may have to stir this too, so I'll make it get a stir stick. I'm just going to kind of move the camera here. You got something? So it's tough to see. I can probably hold that up to the light, but we can see a division line there that is up over the 10 milliliter mark. Hopefully everybody can see that. And I wish I had a light here. Let's see, maybe up there. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to see, but you can definitely see it. It's like kind of whitish looking there, and it's up over that 10 milliliter line. And yeah, we'll go ahead and make these people sick watching this video. Yeah, let me take that wire and kind of just, because they do describe when you do this test, and in your textbook it describes it. It says vigorously shake. If you're James Bond, you don't like it shaken, you like it stirred, right? There's my little joke. You guys love my humor. All right. So stir that up real good, and we'll let that settle. And they say let it settle for a minute. So thank you. There's your wire back. So we'll let that settle, and we should see it kind of, again, you don't want to see more than 10%. That's the law for most of the cars, and the state regulates that. They make sure it's not more than 10%. They were trying to pass a law to put 15% in, and the marine industry was having a fit about it back not too long ago. For you guys watching in the future, you know, this is 2016, so I think that was last year, 2015, is when they were trying to put it up to 15%, and a lot of kickback from the marine industry, because as fuel sets with ethanol, it draws more water into it, and it goes bad, and it gives them all kinds of problems with carburetors and things. So there was a lot of kickback on that legislation, and they didn't pass it. Now, what they'll do in the future, who knows? So anyways, what we can see there is we can see that that line went up, not quite halfway. It's close. So you can barely see that division line in there. If I kind of
and it is down
pivot this
a little bit there too from the top.
Yeah, I spilled it a little bit, didn't I? Yep, from where I sloshed. But you're going to see it's not quite to 20%. It's close. It's probably like 18. So if we were to calculate that out, it's pretty easy math. It's 100, and you take the 18, so we have 18% water there, and we had 10% water initially, so that means we have an 8% increase. So our alcohol went up by about 8%. A lot easier to see if you do this in a glass beaker, which again was misplaced. I don't know where it went. I have to get a new one. But you can definitely see a division line there, and if I tilt it, you can see kind of as I tilt, you can see the water level and the fuel level kind of separating there. So hopefully you guys can see that okay on the video. I can hold that up again and see if you can see that all right. So there we are, 10%, first black line there, and it went up. And again, it's probably up there, not quite halfway, or a little bit over halfway. It just depends on how you look at it. Again, I would highly recommend doing this in a clear beaker. But we definitely don't see more than a 10% gain, which is good. That means that fuel is okay. We can run that in a car that's not regulated for E85. So, all right, hopefully that makes sense. That's your fuel quality testing. And again, our bad fuel, the smell, the color, the look of it. Put a sample on the floor, not a lot. You don't want to take, this much and dump it on the floor and light it on fire. You're going to burn your shop down. Just a small drop is good. And just take a lighter and just see if it lights off right away. If it doesn't light off right away, you have to hold that there for a while. Almost like diesel fuel would be the same way. You'd have to hold your lighter there for a while. It's not any good. The volatility of the fuel is too low. It's not igniting quickly. So that's one way to make sure that you're running proper fuel in your car, and it's going to idle properly and all that good stuff.